Okay, guys, I'll be completely honest. I kind of have goosebumps right now because I'm remembering everything from the Nintendo Direct and the stuff that we're going to talk about and things that got me hyped and the show and the reaction and everything. But honestly, that was one of the greatest Nintendo Directs that I have ever seen. It was so perfectly paced and there were so many incredible things. And it was so awesome that I actually have to split it up into two separate videos. So today we're going to be talking about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and the DLC and what's going on there, in addition to the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, the $70 confirmed price tag, the special edition, and more with that. So it's going to be a pretty in-depth show today. So let's go ahead and start off with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. We do have the expansion pass wave 3 launching February 15th. That is very soon here. And then we also have our first look at the expansion pass story. So the wave 4, brand new story with the new cast, and there is some absolutely bombshell things revealed there, which you kind of already knew a little bit if you played the game, but nothing was confirmed up until this point. And as a Xenoblade fan, this is absolutely peak Monolith Soft, peak greatness when it comes to storytelling and putting together something. And this DLC seems like it's going to be better than Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torn of the Golden Country's DLC, just based on what we saw originally. But let's first talk about the Wave 3 DLC, because we've got a brand new hero that actually looks really cool. I like the hero so far, what they've shown off. So Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Expansion Pass Wave 3 will launch officially on February 15th. Publisher Nintendo and developer Monolith Soft have announced. Now in Wave 3, February 15th, you get a challenge battle mode against difficult enemies, a new hero character and accompanying quests, plus new character outfits. Now, the one thing that they showed off is they showed off like a rogue builder mode where essentially you get one character that you can fight as at the beginning, and then as you go through, you actually get to pick more heroes to join your side and fight through. So there's even a little bit of a change up in how the challenge battles work, which I really love what they did there. They're adding some extra content in, and it's all extra when it comes down to with this expansion pass. I think that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 launched in a state where they didn't have to fix the game constantly, so it wasn't like a barrage of updates and also DLC and kind of like a mismatch of stuff. Here they're just getting out their waves and they're just talking about it, and they're going by a pretty good clip here. There was some space in between the last release of the DLC and also right now at this point, but I think that it's fair overall in terms of what they've done and what they've added as well. And this hero looks really cool. Plus, there is a bunch of outfits that they are going to be adding as well, which kind of harken back to the characters that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 are based off of, or at least there might be some type of connection there, which I think a lot of you guys could already see with the designs of those characters. So that's also really cool too. Love the outfits, love the DLC that they're adding and everything. I think that it's going to be a lot of fun February 15th. So that's next week as of the time that I'm recording this video. So we'll definitely be checking it out, having some footage for you guys and playing it. Now, this is the big thing here, because I think that many people who maybe, if you weren't really into Xenoblade Chronicles 3, maybe you beat the game, but you weren't really paying attention, or if it was your first Xenoblade game, this might have like flew right by your head when you played the game. But if you played Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and you went into that room with the founders, and I talked about it there, and there's been lore videos and there's been people talking about it, Luxon and Enel and so many other people that have discussed the founders and how we could see DLC of the founders, which I felt even when I went into there and I thought to myself, I put like the connection, I like connected the dots and I was like, oh my gosh, we could see something with the DLC expansion, because I was simply relating it back to Torn of the Golden Country. Torna is the expansion for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, where you go back in time and you see exactly what was going down with Mithra and how Pyra was there and Adam and the people that were there at that time. And it was a phenomenal expansion. Still, I think to this day, my favorite piece of DLC ever. But now we have this. We have the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Wave 4 new story, and it features two of the legendary titans of Monolith Soft and of course Xenoblade lore, with Xenoblade Chronicles 1 Shulk and also Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Rex, but they're both older, and goodness gracious, I have to say something real quick here about Rex. I said this on Twitter, I stole this tweet. Be careful who you make fun of in high school. Goodness gracious, this man he is a dual wielder. If you beat Xenoblade Chronicles 3, he'd be dual wielding, but he's really dual wielding at this point because he is dual wielding both Pyra and Mithra blades at the same time. He's much older at this point. He's obviously bigger. He's packed on a ton of muscle and he just looks great. He looks a lot older. It's multiple years into the future. And of course, Shulk, I think, was awesome because Shulk keeps his, I would say, slender build, but more wise at the same time. And he's gonna have his Monado and he's going to be there with Rex facing off, which it seems like Alvis. It seems like Alvis, which is one of the cores of the Trinity processor that was beamed from the world Xenoblade Chronicles 2 with Pyra and Mithra, all of them as part of that Trinity processor, and he was beamed somehow to the Xenoblade Chronicles 1 world, which he set up so many things in terms of the events of that game. I think that it's very important that you guys understand what happened in Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and what happened very well. Go back, look at some lore videos, watch them on YouTube, find some of the best ones, watch them, because this DLC is going absolutely in. It's going ham and it's phenomenal. I have never seen a developer weave in multiple games over the course of a 12-year plus period at this point and weave it into this level in terms of the conclusion and apex of it. This is just absolutely mind-blowing. So it seems like Alvis went somewhat rogue or something happened there. I'm guessing that it's going to be a huge revelation and maybe there's something else at play with Alvis there. Now, the third character that's in there, some people have said that's Noah. Some people have said maybe it's a descendant from his or it's a ancestor of his or something. Some people have even said, hey, well, wait a minute, that may be Faye from Xenogears in terms of the representation from that world into Monolith Soft's game. Now, obviously, they can't really use him unless they get Square Enix's permission because Xenogears is a Square Enix title, but maybe they got that, or maybe they'll just make it as visual representation, or maybe that's who Noah is representing from that game in this world. Now, we don't know. It could just be Noah. Could just be somebody that was a Noah if you've played Xenoblade Chronicles 3. The game is absolutely nuts, but I'm looking forward to seeing all of the big Xenoblade content creators discuss this even more. And of course, once I kind of watch there and I kind of look and connect some dots myself with people that are a little bit better with lore than I am, then I have no problem discussing this again on a live stream or in another video. But right now, things are looking absolutely incredible for Xenoblade. And this is by far one of the best finishes to a trilogy that I have ever seen. So I highly recommend those that are new to Xenoblade, obviously play Xenoblade Chronicles 3, understand that, but also understand Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 fully story-wise with all of the characters. Watch some lore videos if you don't understand it because it's very complicated. I had to watch lore videos for hours on end with various different games just to understand most of what's going on. Watch those, get antiquated with everything because you're going to want to know. And I honestly feel that this DLC gameplay-wise is going to be phenomenal because Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Throne of the Golden Country, changed up combat and added new features that actually was implemented in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So I feel that they're going to take some features and implement them that maybe they didn't have time, or maybe they wanted to streamline, or maybe they wanted to make better, maybe they didn't have time for that, and they want to put that in this one here. So don't expect it to play just like Xenoblade Chronicles 3 or the other games. Of course, it's going to be similar, but I expect there to be a lot of new mechanics and different ways to play, just like 2 did. So I am very much looking forward to that. Now, next up is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and there are multiple layers to this game that just have me like mind blown. When they showed that trailer, it was absolutely incredible, but we have an official price. We have a statement from Nintendo on the prices of this game with Tears of the Kingdom in addition to the future, and then we also have a little bit more. This is something that I kind of researched myself when it comes to the size of the game and what could cause or what's going down with it, so you're going to want to stick all the way through this one here, guys. So The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, second trailer screenshots. You guys are seeing that right now, second trailer, and it is confirmed to be $69.99 on the eShop and in most stores. I think GameStop is honoring $59.99, but this game is MSRP $69.99. This is the first official Nintendo first-party game to make the jump to $70. It's The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Let's talk about this. So, an epic adventure across the land and skies of Hyrule awaits in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for Nintendo Switch. The adventure is yours to create in a world fueled by your imagination. In this sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, you'll decide your own path through a sprawling landscapes of Hyrule and mysterious islands floating in the vast skies above. Can you harness the power of Link's new abilities to fight back against the malevolent forces that threaten the kingdom? The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, once again, is due out on the Nintendo Switch on May 12th. Now, guys, this is not a Nintendo Switch Pro, a next-gen Switch, or anything that some people were trying to say in my chat during the stream, or what I saw even in some comments or on Twitter or wherever the case is. It's running on the regular Nintendo Switch, and I want to spend just a little bit of time talking about this so everybody understands. I think that the narrative with the Nintendo Switch, which there's obviously some truth to it, is that it's just this weak system that can't do anything because you get Digital Foundry and you get a lot of these games that come out on the system and maybe don't run the best or don't look the best or whatever the case is. But I think that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is obviously a game that's built completely different from any other game on the Nintendo Switch. I would be hard pressed to find a singular big or triple A game on the Nintendo Switch that has more development time, more development resources than The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. This game is being finely tuned and optimized for the Nintendo Switch, and I don't think there's a single other game on the platform that's been in development as long in terms of from a big AAA game, not a game that's been delayed a million different times and is a smaller type of game or something like that, but a big major game that has this much time and resources put into it. I don't think there's anything else like it on the market. So if you go back and look at these type of games, there's not much, even from Nintendo themselves. Nintendo has deadlines in terms of what they do for their games and everything. But if you go back and look at something like Super Mario Odyssey, that game runs at 60 frames per second. I think it's 900p when it comes down to it. It runs and looks amazing, and there's really nothing else like it when it comes to that type of art style and how it runs and looks on the Nintendo Switch. Well, why is that? Because Nintendo spent a ton of time, money, and effort developing for the Nintendo Switch for just that game. Even Breath of the Wild is a Wii U game that was ported over. Super Mario Odyssey is built for the Nintendo Switch. This game, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, is built specifically for the Nintendo Switch and is not ported over code. So I think that they were able to optimize and really get everything out of the Nintendo Switch that they can with a huge team size and a huge budget. Almost an endless budget when it comes to it. I don't think there's any game that Nintendo's ever spent more money on in terms of a two-piece than The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So in my opinion, I think this is the reason why the game looks and runs as good as it does from what we've seen, because now we actually have longer gameplay clips. We're seeing the grass, we're seeing the winds, we're seeing the detail, we're seeing everything, and it's definitely a step above The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, it's not like, oh my gosh, way better looking, but it's definitely better looking from what I'm seeing with the lighting engine and from the grass and the details. And I think that there's even going to be better shots that we get later down the line or when we're playing it right there on our TV, because it does seem like it has some new technology built in for upscaling and better image quality based on some of the patents and stuff that has been out there, and even some of the games that have came out recently on the Nintendo Switch. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is the $70 price tag when it comes to it. Now, Nintendo has actually commented on this with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and essentially what they said is that it's a case-by-case basis when it comes to $70 games. It's not something that's just going to be every game is $70 going forward. They said that essentially this game, yes, it's 70. And Game Informer asked them like, okay, well, is this going to be a trend? What's going on there? And they just said no. They're just going to determine it by case-by-case basis. So keep that in mind. And I think because of one, the long development period and a lot of resources that was put into this game, that could have caused it to jump up. But there's also something else that a lot of people aren't talking about. Shout out to Nintendo Prime because he first mentioned it, but now we actually have a little bit of a confirmation in terms of the scope of this game, or size, gigabytes wise. Now, if you go on the eShop, you can see that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is a 18.2 gigabyte size game. Now, why is that significant? Because The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, all of Nintendo's big first-party games, Super Smash Bros., all of them fit on a standard 16 gigabyte cartridge or down. All of those games are 16 gigabytes or down. Now, they have DLC, or they have extra stuff that jumps the size up that you have to download on your internal memory or on your SD card, but you can play the game right there out of the box. There is no extra download just to get the game working like some third-party developers have done, where it's like some part of it's, downloading, some part of it's on the actual cartridge. None of that with any of the big first-party Nintendo Switch games. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, since it goes above that 16 gigabyte cartridge standard size with the standard price, that definitely caused a couple different things, or caused something to happen. Either Nintendo is using a 32 gigabyte cartridge, which there's only a small handful of games that use a cartridge that size, or they're using a special custom cartridge, like a 20 gigabyte or something that they made custom wise just for Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, because it is clearly above that 16 gigabyte cartridge limit. You can't fit 18 gigabytes in a 16 gigabyte cart, and they're not doing an extra download or anything like that. So it's probably a 32 gigabyte cartridge, as I haven't seen anything else that's like 20 or 24. It's usually with the sizes, it's 2, 4, 8, 16, and then 32. So it pretty much just doubles up each time. So I'm guessing it's on a 32 gigabyte cartridge, or it's on a special custom cart. Now, I know some of you guys are asking about, oh, well, what about the eShop? Why is the digital version that? Well, Nintendo does not like to have issues with the retailers in terms of pricing things cheaper digitally compared to physical, especially if it's dual launching at the same time. So that's the reason why for that. Now, obviously, I would love to see games stay the same price, stay 60. There does not need to be price increases for the consumer out there, especially if you're talking about like in Europe or in other places, right? Like, it's just more expensive, and inflation is also hitting people too as well. So I hate to see games, go up in price. I really don't like to see that. Now, on the other side, I know that I'm going to be buying The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom regardless. I'm going to be buying it when it comes down to it, because this game is incredible, and it does seem like Nintendo has confirmed that every game going forward isn't going to be that. So, for example, Metroid Prime Remastered, which we're going to talk about in my second video, talk about the Direct, that is only $40. And also, Pikmin 4, that game is $59.99 or $60. So it's not like everything going forward is going to be $70. It seems like it's going to be a case-by-case basis. So I would guess that the next big Super Mario game, for example, on the Switch 2 or whatever it comes out on, yeah, that's going to be like 70, or maybe even Super Smash Brothers or a Mario Kart game. Maybe those are going to be the big ones that are 70, and then some of the other style of games, like maybe like a Fire Emblem or stuff like that, maybe that's going to be 60, or maybe some of the other games just not going to be that price. Or if it's a remaster, maybe 40, 50, who knows? Nintendo is kind of all over the place with pricing, because Metroid Prime Remastered only 40. I mean, they have remasters and they have ports that are 60, in comparison, although there's no actual new content in Metroid Prime Remastered. So we will definitely see when it comes down to all this. Now, next up, guys, we do have a Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition and Amiibo being revealed as well. So one of the big reveals from this, we didn't get the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom OLED that people thought was real. Maybe that still comes out at some point, maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. But the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition will have a few extras alongside the main game. Buyers will receive an art book with concept art, steelbook case, an icon art steel poster, and a set of 4 pins. Pricing is set at $129.99. And as for the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Amiibo, there is a new figure for Link, and it does grant access to materials and weapons, as well as a special fabric for Link's paraglider, which is pretty cool as well. And there's also a little trailer that they put out too for the special edition, which is nice. It's really nice, and I love what I'm seeing with the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Gameplay wise, The game looks absolutely incredible. I love the new gadgets that Link has. He's flying through the sky that looks like a drone. He's also on the ground with a huge, like, I don't know, like four-wheeler or something, some type of custom Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts looking type of thing. Like, there is a lot to this game. When you fly up into the skies, you see all the different sky temples and areas. Looks like there's going to be all sorts of puzzles and areas to explore. I love what they're doing with this game, and the new weapons just seem so smooth. I didn't see any hitches or any problems with the frame rate or anything like that with the game. So right now, it's just looking smooth. It's looking innovative with the new things within the world. I loved how you can explore on the ground and the sky, and it seems like it's going to be seamless. The story looks like it's going to be even crazier than before, and it does seem, based on what I saw from the trailer, looks like the Blood Moon isn't going to stop the gameplay or anything like that. It'll just have the Blood Moon, then you'll be able to just keep going there. I love that. Looks like the difficulty is going to be ramped up from the default, and the master mode isn't going to be something that, okay, I gotta wait till after the game to play that. So I love how every single aspect of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is being improved upon and even made better when it comes to the Sheikah Slayer, or when it comes to gadgets to use, or when it comes to the exploration. Everything seems so much, and I think that there's even more that they're not showing. There were so many cuts in that trailer. They were cutting everything because they don't want to spoil it for people out there. I think at this point, you know whether you're going to pick up this game or not. This trailer probably sold so many more people on it, especially because you see all the different things that they're adding into the game. So I think that Nintendo is going to take it easy here with the content. I do feel that there's going to be a Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Direct where they focus solely on this game. Obviously, it's a $70 game now, so I think they're going to do a bit more marketing with it, but I don't think they're going to show off too many more things outside of what they've already shown at this point. So I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I'm hyped. It's going to be here before we even know it. February is going to blow by. Then it's just going to be 2 more months, and it's going to be here. So very good stuff all around. So those were my long-winded thoughts when it comes down to it. I've got more content on Xenoblade Chronicles 3 where I talked about the DLC that we obviously just saw, in addition to other stuff like Golden Sun, which was somewhat announced. We have the GBA Online with NSO, so you can play it on there, or at least it's coming in the future. And I also have more analysis and discussion on Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Links in the description below for all of that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next video. Peace.